You once believe what fell from the sky, a metallic sphere. No screws, no sound, no explanation. It appeared floating over a rural town in Colombia and landed in a farmer's field. But what seemed like just another weird countryside story turned into one of the most bizarre cases scientists have ever seen. 3 internal layers, a strange chip in the center. And the weirdest part? It emits signals, pulses, as if it's alive, as if it's waiting for something. And no one wants to talk about it. This wasn't on the news, but we're going to show you. We'll show you real videos, lost photos, and the testimonies of those who saw the sphere up close. But what if it's all true? It all began on a hot morning in Buga, Colombia, when locals in the rural area saw something strange in the sky. It wasn't a balloon or a plane. It was a metallic sphere, glowing as it crossed power lines like they weren't even there. Sparks flew, but it kept floating until it lost altitude and landed in the field of a farmer named Don Jose. And the weirdest part? It made no sound. He walked up to it and described it as cold, smooth, and with no visible markings. It looked like it had been shaped by technology we haven't invented yet. Soon, amateur videos started spreading online, real clips showing the sphere glowing briefly before it touched the ground. But strangely, no military or government agents came to retrieve it, at least not immediately. A few days later, independent researchers got access to the object. That's when the rumors began. 3 inner layers, a solid core, symbols carved on its surface, ones no one could translate. Some said it was modern art, but who leaves a sculpture like that to fall from the sky with surgical precision? What came next was even stranger. The sphere was taken to the University of Val, where radiologist Dr. Jose Luis Velázquez conducted the first scans, and what he found didn't make sense. The object had 3 distinct layers, but no welds, screws, or seams. It was one solid piece, as if it had been molded from the inside out using technology no one there could explain. The outer shell had plant fragments and microfibers embedded in it, as if it had passed through different atmospheres or had been part of a living environment. Inside, tiny floating spheres and a central chip were discovered. When asked what he thought, the doctor simply said, "I've never seen anything like this. This is not human." Then things got weirder. The sphere was emitting low-frequency signals, not random, but patterned, and the symbols on its surface. Some matched ancient carvings found in Mongolian caves and Syrian ruins, civilizations that never interacted, but drew the same exact shapes. And that was just the beginning. The call vows. As word of the Buga Sphere spread, ufologists began connecting it to other similar incidents, and the coincidences are disturbing. In 2020, in China, an almost identical sphere was discovered deep in a forest, same seamless surface, same strange energy patterns, and just like in Buga, it vanished mysteriously a few days later. In 2017, in Mexico, another sphere landed in a cornfield. Witnesses said it vibrated softly and made low whisper-like sounds. Authorities claimed it was space debris. But now experts are drawing patterns. These spheres aren't crashing, they're being placed. So why here? Why now? Are they beacons, surveillance devices, or pieces of something far bigger that's already unfolding? Even Luis Elizondo, former Pentagon investigator, confirmed there are objects in orbit behaving in ways no human technology can. What came after escalated everything. Dimsede Ipan Sobiwo. Scientists analyzing the Buga Sphere noticed something even more disturbing. It emits low-frequency pulses, nearly impossible for humans to detect. Using audio spectrum equipment, they recorded short rhythmic bursts, consistent, structured, almost coded, not natural noise, intentional transmissions. Even stranger, the frequency patterns matched recordings from spheres in China and Mexico, suggesting they're part of the same network, like they're communicating with each other or reporting to something larger. Some researchers now believe these spheres are planetary monitors, measuring temperature, magnetic fields, atmospheric pressure. In other words, we're being watched. But what if their purpose isn't just to observe? What if these signals are part of a countdown? Researcher Sylvia Daza, an alien biotech expert, believes the spheres may be asleep, awaiting a trigger. But what happens when all of them activate at once? Theo down. As the footage went viral, something strange happened. The reports began to disappear. Broken links, deleted videos, social accounts going silent. Some news outlets covered it briefly, then issued denials within 24 hours, calling it space debris, rocket fragments, or art installations. But none of those explain the scans or the signals. Don Jose, the farmer who found the object, stopped speaking to reporters. Neighbors say he was visited by men in black suits. Literally, outsiders, government-looking, but with no clear IDs. And just like that, the sphere vanished. The last known image shows it being loaded onto a truck with military escort and no license plates. Sound familiar? It always plays out the same. A discovery is made, the narrative changes, the public forgets. But what if the Buga Sphere was never supposed to be found? What if it's one piece in a much bigger operation that's already underway? Then something unexpected surfaced. The symbols on the Buga Sphere aren't new. They match ancient inscriptions, from the Olmecs, the Glozal tablets in France, and even hieroglyphs inside Egyptian temples. In every culture, these symbols were linked to sky messengers or celestial spheres. Worse yet, ancient prophecies speak of round objects falling from the firmament to mark the end of an age. For centuries, scholars thought these were metaphors. But what if they were warnings? Maybe ancient civilizations weren't talking mythology. Maybe they were trying to warn us. And maybe these spheres have always returned, before great changes. Could they be measuring epochs, watching civilizations rise and fall? What if ancient people remembered, and we simply forgot? Some researchers now believe the most terrifying possibility: the spheres didn't fall, they were left behind, deliberately. Maybe they're fragments of alien tech, autonomous probes, biomechanical machines, or even sentient surveillance devices designed by a much more advanced and silent intelligence. Ex-NASA consultant Dr. Richard Duddy once said that similar devices have been found before, but always under layers of secrecy. He claimed some of them activate when they detect Earth's magnetic field, as if they were programmed to wake up. And the worst part? Most of them vanish, just like the Buga Sphere. What if they're sentinels, set to observe until something happens? And the real question isn't what are they, but who put them here? And are they still watching? Others suggest we're making a huge mistake by calling the sphere an object. What if it's not an object at all? What if it's alive, or at least biomechanical? The smooth, seamless design, the pulsing core, the strange silence, all of it could point to a life form we don't recognize. Or worse, one that's observing us in real time. A group of astrobiologists detected a terrifying detail. The inner core reacts to sound frequencies, especially those in the human vocal range, as if it's listening, as if it's learning. Some now believe the sphere is waiting for a signal, a phrase, a vibration. And what if it's not alone? What if there are dozens, hundreds, quietly sleeping around the world until a trigger wakes them all up? What if the Buga Sphere didn't fall, it woke up? If these spheres are alien tech, why aren't world governments reacting publicly? Why are they staying silent? Some intelligence experts believe there's a quiet agreement between global powers, an unspoken treaty to keep the truth hidden, no matter what. Researcher Stephen Greer claims there's a secret network, a shadow government that controls this narrative. He believes the Buga Sphere may have fallen outside of their control, and they rushed to cover it up before the story spread too far. But what if they're not silent by choice, but out of fear? What if the spheres are beyond anyone's control, even theirs? What if Buga was a mistake, or worse, an intentional test? The Buga Sphere might not be an isolated event. Strange phenomena are showing up all over the world: unexplainable sounds, electromagnetic disruptions, glowing geometric shapes in the ground, and of course, other spheres. Experts are now mapping these locations and noticing a terrifying pattern. Almost all of them are aligned with ley lines, invisible energy routes that connect pyramids, megaliths, and ancient sacred sites. Could this be a map, or something waiting to be activated? What if these spheres are just the beginning of a global event we haven't recognized yet? Something building, preparing, calling something back. And years from now, we might look back and say, it all started with Buga. And what if this was never random? What if the Buga Sphere is just one piece of a puzzle no one wants us to solve? Maybe the signs have always been there. Maybe we're just now opening our eyes. And the real question isn't what is the Buga Sphere, but why did it arrive now? Are we ready for what comes next? Or have they already arrived, and they're just waiting for the right moment to act? If this made sense to you, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and share this with someone who also deserves to know the truth.